Hey jammers, betas. Wait, what did I just say betas? I meant Toxic AJ here. So today, I felt like because it's such beautiful weather like here in Manhattan, so I decided to do a voice video. And today I'm going to be speaking about a creepypasta. Name going by Clockwork. Let's go. A little girl sat in her room. Her messy brown hair was pulled into pigtails, and their hazel eyes stared at the door. She hugged her stuffed giraffe closely to her little body and listened closely to the loud yells of her father and mother. "I never should have had any damn kids," screamed a loud, deep voice. "All they do is make messes, complain, and draw on the walls." He was cut off by the high, angered yells by the girl's mother. "They're children, David! They don't know any better!" "Oh, fuck me, Meredith. I don't want to hear your bullshit excuses. I have just had enough of them." "And what do you plan on doing about it?" The girl heard footsteps coming toward her room. She hugged her giraffe closer. The door was violently opened, and there, in the hallway, stood a large, angry, overweight father. In one of his meaty hands, he held a large textbook. "Stop it, David!" screamed her mother. But the father ignored his wife's pleading cries. He grabbed the little girl by the collar, and she screamed and kicked, trembling and shaking with fear. The girl's father harshly had held up the textbook. "This is for drawing on my fucking walls, you little bitch!" Years later, the little girl, known as Natalie, is 17 years old. Like usual, she stayed in her room watching TV. Her dad was ranting on about some economic crap that she really couldn't care less about, while she munched on some popcorn. She was also currently drawing a picture. It was a little bit of gore in it, but she liked drawing blood. It gave her some weird satisfaction. Other than that, multitasking was no problem for her. It became apparent to her at a young age, after having to do so much hard work and labor. She was able to do everything at once. Drawing ended up to be her talent and passion. It was a way of escaping from reality. "We're here." She looked at a large sign in the school that read Walkerville Institute for the Creative Fine Arts. She sighed tiredly and stepped out, putting her backpack on her shoulder. "See ya," she said, closing the car door. She walked into the school and chatted with a couple of friends until she went up to a locker on the third floor. She grabbed her books, and before the 5 minutes of time was over, she ran to class. Her English teacher annoyingly out her hand on Natalie's desk. "Where is your assignment, Miss Ouellette?" Natalie swallowed. I forgot it at home." The teacher growled and stood there. "Your time is up, Miss Ouellette. Do not disappoint me." Natalie seemed puzzled by the thought for a moment. She didn't know why those words seemed to melt through her. She simply ignored it and went back to listening to the lesson, falling asleep not too long after, of course. Later that day, she was heading to her locker for fourth period, and suddenly her boyfriend Chris came up to her. "Hey, talk to me after school, okay?" She smiled lovingly at Chris, though strangely she didn't expect anything. He was always a sweet guy. During a French class, she dared not to pay attention. Instead, she doodled a thing she loved to draw. Blood, gore, people being stabbed, knives. Other people say it's pretty dark of her to draw such things, but she saw nothing wrong with it. For a strange reason, it was almost normal to her. "Miss Ouellette!" She quickly covered her drawings on her paper and looked up to her French teacher. "Yes?" He gestured her arm to move with a slight turn of his head. "Show me your work." She hesitantly moved her arm to show the picture of someone being stabbed. The teacher stared, puzzled, looking at her a bit. She smiled nervously. "Erase that and get started on your work," he said in a calm tone. He walked away as she sighed and erased the picture. "Oh, and Miss Ouellette," she looked at him. "Your time is almost up on getting your work done. I suggest doing it now." She growled at the remark. Time always seemed to be against her. As far as she could care, time can go fuck itself. After class, she walked out of school to find her boyfriend standing near the fence by a sidewalk. She smiled and walked over, hoping her day can at least be cheered up by him. As she walked over, hoping her day can at least be cheered up a bit by him a bit, but as she walked over, her smile faded. He wasn't smiling back. "Chris? What's wrong? What do you want to talk about?" Natalie, I think it's time that we should see other people. She felt her heart break. But why? He gave a stern look. It's your mindset. Your drawings, it creep me out. I think there's something wrong with you. And the saddest part is, why haven't you told me? Why you're acting like this? It makes me feel irresponsible. So I just can't do it anymore. I'm sorry. And with that, he began to walk away. At home, Natalie slammed her hands on the bathroom counter. She stared at herself in the mirror, her eyes twitching. I won't hurt myself like the others. I can stay strong. There was a needle and black thread in her hand. It's pointless. It doesn't help. Some weird sensation pulled at her subconscious. She chuckled slightly. No, I'm doing it because I want to. She held up the needle and thread at the end of it. She smirked widely. Time is up. Piece by piece, cut after cut. Even though excruciating pain was going through her, she did not whine. She did not whimper. She did not cry.